Hello and welcome to another maths video. We are going to look now at the different types of data. So we're getting into our single variable and bivariate statistics unit. Types of data, this has to do with surveys. We're looking at what kind of data you can get, what is going to be useful, what's going to be less useful, and just naming some of the different data types. So before the last video we looked at what was a census, what was a sample, what was population. Now we're going to look at different types of data. So when you do ask a question, you do get a question, you are looking at some data. Oh dear. Question. You're going to get yourself some data. And broadly speaking, your data is going to fall into one of two categories. It's either going to be categorical or numerical. And categorical basically is anything that has a word in it. So categorical might be, say, car color. So car color, green, blue, yellow, silver, white, whatever. It's not a number. You might also get categorical being, the best, or satisfactory, unsatisfactory, above expectation, like a report grade. That would also be categorical data. Numerical data is anything to do with numbers. So anything to do with numbers might be your shoe size, might be your height, might be your weight. In terms of usefulness, what you've seen in previous years, numerical is probably a little bit more useful, but that's not to say categorical is not important. Obviously, you can't, say what's your car color. Your car color is not 3. Your car color is going to be white, it's going to be black, it's going to be whatever. Within these two, there are two more subcategories. So categorical, your data can either be ordinal or nominal. And ordinal data is data that has some sort of order to it. Has order. So an example of that might be a report grade, and you might get above expectation or well above expectation. You might get above expectation, meets expectation, etc. So of course you then get below expectation. So there's some order to it. So one's better than the other one. Which one's best? Well, in terms of reports, well above expectation is what is normally considered best. Nominal has no order. Okay, so there's no necessarily greater in this case. So car color might be a good example here. Okay, there's nothing saying that white is better than silver. It's all personal preference. And generally not the most helpful category, but it is kind of good. It is necessary, a bit of necessary evil. Looking at your numerical data, so numerical data also falls into two subcategories. The first you have is discrete. So discrete, you will hear discrete if you do any higher maths on data. Discrete is when it has to be a fixed value. So discrete data, an example of discrete data might be your shoe size. So your shoe size, you can be a size 6, you can be a size 6.5, you can be a 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, etc. You can't really be a 6.2386941. So discrete, you are fixed, you're stuck with a fixed value. Okay, so my example here I said was shoe size. Okay. The alternative to this is continuous. Okay, so continuous data this might include something like the length of your foot. So Not necessarily fixed values. No fixed values. So length of your foot, you can measure, well, your foot can be any length, really. I mean, there's normal feet sizes, and who knows how big they are, but it could be anything. Okay, so for your shoe size, they'll stop making shoes at, size 15 or something, but your foot could be really any result you want it to be. So your foot could be 43.5 centimeters, it could be 43.2689497 centimeters. You can measure this as closely as you'd like, whereas discrete, you are taking out a fixed value. Okay, you have to be 6, you have to be 6.5, you have to be 7, 7.5. Continuous, you can be 6.23891432. Your foot length could be 3.7 kilometers. There's no fixed values in this per se. You could argue by the time you round, you end up back at discrete data, but continuous will assume there's no rounding for now. So foot length, you could measure it centimeters, you can measure it millimeters, you can measure it kilometers, and you could get really, really long feet or really, really short feet. So it's really hard to actually get data here. So if you're talking about modes, for example, so mode, you would have seen in previous years, mode's the most occurring score. So the most occurring score, you should get quite a bit in discrete. So a normal shoe size, if you're watching this video, you're probably a year 10 student. So your normal shoe size, you're looking at, 9, 10, 11-ish. And you get a lot of 9, 10, 11s because it's discrete. But if I go and measure it continuously, if I go and measure all the feet to the nearest millimeter, it's kind of a dirty job, but you won't get a bunch in common. So discrete will be better there for finding a mode. It's also better for graphing and analysis in terms of the graphing side of things. With these two data types, the categorical, the numerical, numerical is generally better for numerical processing. So your numerical processing, you're looking at things like finding the mean, the average, the median, the mode. It's better for bivariate statistics because you can draw connections between the two. So you can find typical scores for numerical fairly easily. Finding typical scores for categorical, you only really have the mode, the one that occurs most often. So in terms of car color, I mean, you can't really have an average car color, it doesn't make much sense, but you can have the car color that occurs most. So you can say there's the most cars are silver, or most cars are white, whatever it is, that is the mode, but you can't process much beyond that further in that sense. So you need to know these two categories here, the categorical, the numerical, the ordinal, the nominal, the discrete, continuous as well. Just a heads up, sometimes this here is called the quantitative, so having to do with quantity, having to do with numbers, numerical is generally what's accepted in this course. It's worth noting that down probably as well though. Okay. Make sure you got notes copied down somewhere that you again need them, but that is the types of data as far as we're concerned. Make sure your survey questions do get different types because yeah, this would be nice to process, but this might be important as well. You can't capture everything with numerical. You can't capture hair color with numerical. Thanks for watching, and all the best with your studies of this unit.